Paige. How's it going?
Good, good. Yeah.
Oh,
Excited to, just share what we're doing this weekend. You want to share?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So this coming Sunday, which is going to be August 16th, we're taking the Polarity Lab out of the computer in the virtual space into a real physical location for a couple hours at the Highlands Rainbow Blossom, which has a wonderful community room accessible to us. It's great. We have tons of space. And we're meeting from like 2:30 to 4:30, and it's going to be super, super fun.
Yeah. Thanks for putting it together for us.
Yeah. And it's not a lecture, right? Like that's what's important. This is going to be an experiential, fun class with discussions and conversations about polarity and relationships and communication and things we can do as both men and women partners in these dynamics to show up better. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So yeah, I think it's funny because we have to talk about like what these traits are, but they're really inherent to who we already are. It's not that we have to cultivate them. They're already there. It's how do we interplay with them?
Yeah.
How do
And
we dance with them? Like, how do we, when we get into places where maybe we're hitting some speed bumps, then that's where I think polarity comes in. Is why are we hitting the speed bumps? Because these qualities are already in us. We don't have to like find them. They're already there.
that's what I was going to ask. What do you think the speed bumps are? What are the things that cause us, either men or women, to hold back from being our more authentic, expressive, energetic selves?
Well, I think a lot of it too, like we've talked on many previous polarity labs, is just learned behavior from our parents. I mean, we only know what we saw and witnessed and experienced. And so that could have been positive or negative or neutral, but obviously I think it's interesting because I talked to several times in other ones that I have two teenagers, and my daughter was like, "Oh, I'll never get married and have these problems." And I was like, "Oh, you don't even know them until they rear their heads. Like, you don't know what exists in you until you've had someone to mirror aspects of yourself that you learned from childhood or that became ingrained in you. You just don't know. You won't know until there's another person mirroring it to you."
Yeah. And that's what, I mean, that's one of the things I think we both value so much about relationships is that they're these beautiful training grounds and fertile grounds for growth and personal transformation and self-awareness. And
I think I spent the first part of my adulthood not in true intimacy, so I couldn't see or unpack quite the way I have in this chapter of my life what polarity is, because you can also be in a surface level relationship where the deep stuff doesn't even get triggered because you're not going into those deeper, intimate places. And so sometimes it's a romantic partner or a lover or someone that comes along the way and they mirror it to you and you didn't even know because you weren't in the place of deep vulnerability or intimacy too. Because I had many partners that never would have gotten these triggers in me because I wasn't available to go that deep
right.
or that intimate or that vulnerable. And so there's a lot of people who may be like, oh, it, it's the desire to want to become more intimate and more vulnerable where these things reveal themselves.
Yes.
They're the most fragile parts of ourselves.
And that's what makes it fearful to be vulnerable and to open those spaces. And that's why it requires so much safety and right, like feeling secure and that ability just to be open to share those emotions. That's the interplay between the masculine and the feminine. And
Right. And the other thing too is I think that we can sometimes with partners live parallel lives where we're in separate lanes and we can function or cohabitate for a long time, not like I said, on that surface level, just driving our own ship or like in our own lane, but not crisscrossing over, you know, like somebody mentioned the other day, and I was like, yeah, I was very compatible in my marriage living an autonomous life,
Mm,
but it didn't require me to go into the intimate, vulnerable places. I could just stay in my lane because you were talking about leading and guiding. So you could have two individuals like leading and guiding their own lane, but what if they choose to dance together? If they're both driving their own cars side by side,
right.
it wouldn't require this component that you've introduced today that you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
leading aspect.
Right. Right. Well, yeah. And that's again being it's tricky to lead when two different people both think they know where things are going. Like so now who is going to lead? Who is going to determine how things go? And again, I think that's one of the things that can switch back and forth between partners in relationships. Because effectively leading is the masculine energy helping to direct the flow, the livelihood, the juiciness of the feminine, right? And so like for some reason in my brain, I always go to like a trip, like planning a trip and thinking about how that can be stressful. And, sometimes one of the partners is really good at the map and the hotels and where we're going to stay and setting that up. And the other person's really good at, I'm going to pack the snacks in the cooler and so like you can switch back and forth. And I think people can kind of understand that and there's an excitement about it and couples going on trips. But then when you would ask them to kind of imagine the same back and forth in other areas of the relationship, which are kind of part of the day in and day out, struggles that at times aren't working, it's hard to step back from that and see that because I think we're just so caught in the patterns that we're living in. Did that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Um, it's like if you had two people at the steering wheel, it would be dangerous.
Right.
Like if you're driving a car and you had two people simultaneously trying to hold the steering wheel, that's a dangerous situation to be in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I think the other easy metaphor is dancing.
Oh yeah.
I recently went to a birthday party where the birthday woman let everybody into a room as a surprise. And she had just bought the house. So we just all thought we were taking a tour of her new home that she was renovating. And so she had a group of like 20 of us and let us all into the sunroom. And everyone's kind of standing there like, what are we doing? And her friend was a ballroom dancer and immediately like paired everybody up to ballroom dance. And then we changed partners, you know, and um, I'm the kind of woman who feels uncomfortable if I'm not really being, especially dancing, like being like strongly led. And amongst those like 10 different change offs, let's say there were 20 of us, like 10 different change off, there was one man who maybe he wasn't confident in his dancing or he didn't dance or he didn't know how to dance, but the insecurity of me being with that partner, not being a strong ballroom guide made me really uneasy. And then there was another man who just took me and completely knew exactly what to do and led me the whole time. And that was when I had fun and I surrendered and I felt comfortable. And so um, it's a good interaction, like to go dancing and feel which role feels more comfortable to you.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
there was other women, there was one woman that she was like in the dominant role, and that's where she wanted to be, and she was comfortable with that, and I was like the other polarity because there were women they liked to be in that role, and you could see the spectrum of women who totally wanted to surrender versus those that wanted to lead and guide. And then we ended up, paired with women, and you could feel the more masculine and feminine within because a lot of people left the room and we were left with, a handful of women and men and we were changing off. And so yeah, I mean, it was interesting to just, I've done that before where you feel the energies and you can kind of see organically where you fall.
Yeah. That's I wonder about our relationships and why sometimes it seems hard to really have somebody consistently wanting to lead or wanting to be led in these, relationship dynamics. And again, it's like I think both partners a lot of times are kind of like, pulling back a little bit, and maybe it comes from, again, like a fear, like I don't want to, in the same way I don't want to be bad at dancing. I don't want to take us through something that I'm not prepared for, or I wouldn't know how to handle, or
It
it's deep.
also, it could be dependent upon what's happening in your life at the time. Like, are you in a position where you know where you're going? I mean, we all know that part of life where sometimes you don't know where you're going. Like you
Yeah,
literally can land yourself in a part of life where you're like, I'm not sure where the direction is. And there can be other times in your life where you're completely confident on where you're going.
yeah,
Um, I mean, I know right outside of my marriage, I dated a guy and he wanted me to be confident in the direction. I was like, I literally just got out of marriage. I'm not wanting to relive or remake or recreate what I had. I'm literally in this place of I just need to be and comprehend where my feet are landing. So that was a real dissonance because he wanted me to know that I wanted to go in a direction with him. And I had zero confidence around that because I really I was going outside of one thing and I really didn't even have my footing to know even where I wanted to go.
right.
So I think there's times where we dance in and out of that too. Like, are we confident in our direction? Or are we not? You
Yeah.
know?
Well, and it's, I think it's okay. I mean, I would you have to let somebody be there in that place of uncertainty. And then the masculine leadership has to be able to change with that, not take it personal, not be attached to the outcome and just say,
Well, he did take it personal and he
right,
was not
right,
okay. So, of course, we didn't last for very long because he was wanting to lead and guide me, and I didn't want to be led and guided. And in that situation, I didn't want to be led and guided. I literally
right,
needed to be in myself and feel what I mean, it was like a complete confusion. All I knew for 16 years had evaporated overnight.
right,
And so there was no way that anyone at that point, no amount of masculine man could come in and guide me through
right.
that.
Right. No, the guidance would have just been holding space with you, being with you where you were at,
Yeah.
offering the container to work through stuff or talk through stuff if necessary, and otherwise just enjoying the femininity and energy that you wanted and had to bring to a relationship. Like
Yeah.
that was the gift.
Right. And so it didn't last for very long. And I didn't blame him. He knew what he wanted. He knew what
Yeah.
direction he was going
Mm,
in. I mean, he knew what he wanted from a partner. And so I think that's important too, is that we have these honest conversations of where we are going so that if there's a true mismatch, like if I had been fully clear and we weren't trying to force anything, I could have said, you know what, move on and leave me because I can't really truly offer you that. So once he got super clear and I still couldn't be committal, it allowed him because he was clear what he wanted to move on, you know.
right, right.
He
Yeah.
wanted something deeper and I wasn't available for that.
Not at that point in time. And
Right, not at that point in time, but that's what I mean. Like timing can be so crucial too. It's not
yeah,
always like, oh, we have this amount of masculine or this amount of feminine. It may also just be that the timing of our of our soul is at a specific place and time of unclarity or also just going through the chrysalis of
right.
transformation.
I think that's where a lot of, the way to really bring that polarity and femininity into the moment is to just be in the moment, right? To not have the story, the worry about the future, the story about the past, literally just being there in whatever state that we're in. And that's the kind of things that as men and women wanting to be in relationships, we can develop these skills. We can cultivate these skills of being present in the moment, being present to someone else's emotional state. And that's kind of what the purpose is of the Polarity Lab, like weekend workshop and the, in-person Polarity Lab, right? That we're doing on Sunday.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives people an opportunity to be in a self-discovery of how much they want to be in either energy and, yeah, I mean, like, especially with the leading question, like, are you clear on where you're going and what are you desiring to be led, to not be led, to be, celibate? Like, what is it that what is it that you need now? Because at that time I wasn't interested in developing, and later, that's shifted. And then I would say from the feminine perspective, when I'm in my place of wanting to be led and guided, if I'm not, I can feel dropped.
Mm,
Like it can change, right? It can change based on the scenario. Like when I'm wanting to be led and guided, and I don't feel like I am, I can feel completely dropped.
yeah.
And that's like a place of where it can get dicey.
Does that feel like something that comes on over time, or is there like a point and it's like,
I mean, right, it would be the level at which I wanted to go deep or intimate with someone, right? Like if I wasn't, it wouldn't come on, but the deeper, more vulnerable and intimate you get with somebody, then the more fragile, right? You need to feel safe in where you're headed.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I can see where I felt dropped, be- a relationship much later when I was engaged, I felt very dropped. I felt
mm,
very like I thought, oh, I'm engaged, I'm getting married, I know where I'm going, and I felt fully dropped because I thought I was on a path that
mm.
didn't have a clear way forward.
And that's the difference. The difference is the feeling from the thought. The thought is, oh, everything's going in the right direction. We've got the engagement and the wedding scheduled, and da, da, da. That's thinking, but the feeling is not lining up with that.
Exactly, the feeling was not lining up, and like it was such a strong intuition, and it was like an undeniable intuition that I had that those two things weren't aligning in a way that felt safe for me.
Yeah. Wow. It's such a gift though to have this awareness now to be able to talk about this and share this. And these are the things that I think are in some ways universal experiences for men and women in relationships, in one way or another. We're all having these road bumps and hiccups and poor communication and then moments when we're really proud of something we did and how we
Mhm.
showed up and so it's beautiful to be able to share this with you in these conversations and bringing more people into it. So that's what we want people to come join us on Sunday.
Yeah, I just feel so strongly that this work is really needed because again, I think it requires a true level of vulnerability and intimacy that our collective hasn't quite seen yet.
Yep. Yep.
I feel like we're craving it and we're on the like kind of edge of like getting there, but it hasn't clicked yet for all
Yeah.
of us. I mean,
And yeah, and the work is to better understand ourselves, but also our partners and the other gender, and what's going on, and like recognize again that we are different, and it's that is what makes us complementary, and creates the charge and the energy between us. That's beautiful. It's a gift.
yeah,
Sweet.
yeah. All right. Well, Sunday, you want to just repeat, let them
Yeah,
know.
we're going to Sunday at the Highlands Rainbow Blossom. It's at 3046 Bardstown Road. We're going to be meeting at 2:30. It's in the upstairs community room, and it's going to be a great time. And we'd love for anybody who's interested to come out and join us. And we'll put some info in the descriptions. And we just thank you for watching and being part of the Polarity Lab with us.
All right. Thank you again. Have a
Yeah,
great day.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.